Welcome back. So we will continue our teardown series here of the Traxxas Bandit VXL. We have previously removed all the components on the front end from the top plate, servo, took apart the front end, we removed the electronics, including the receiver. Now we're going to remove the entire rear end. Again, you're going to leave this plate on. It depends how much you want to work or struggle to remove the rear. If you want to just remove the transmission with the arms, you're going to have to remove these 6 screws down here. So you're going to need a 2.5 and a 2.0 driver. And you're going to have to remove these 2 screws, and then you can wiggle this out. Or you can take these screws off, the front ones, as well as the bottoms, and then everything comes out with the shock tower. Or you can remove all those 4, and then the shock tower will be loose, this will be loose. You can take these off, shock tower will come off. First, before we do the shock tower here, we're actually going to do the bottom. So we're going to keep it simple and just do the 6 screws that we have to remove regardless of what we do or how we want to do it. So again, you take your 2mm. Now, one of the things that sometimes I do as I'm removing this, I'm actually spinning the driver with one hand here, and then I'm spinning this part with the other hand. Just kind of helps me spin it quicker. That's the only reason why you see me working with 2 hands. The only reason why you see me working with 2 hands is because I don't have a third hand. If I had a third hand, I'd be holding this with the other hand, and I'm not really going to use my elbow. Well, I guess I could if I were desperate. But here we go. So, see, so then you just spin here, so you're always spinning. And now we use our 2.5. Okay, see? Something else that you can do is just turn it this way, and then you can just hold it with your shirt. So the nice thing is that most of the 10 scale Traxxas vehicles for off-road use the same transmission. So it's going to be the same pattern, whether it's the Bandit, the Rustler 2-wheel drive, or the 2-wheel drive Slash. So you're going to have the same setup. So really, once you learn on how to wrench on one of the vehicles, you're going to know or be able to easily figure out how to wrench on the other one. So that is it for the removal of those screws. Now we just have to flip it again. And at this point, you cannot remove it because it's attached up here. So we're just gonna have to remove it. I'm gonna remove it with the mount. So I'm gonna just take this part, these 2 things apart this way. I'm gonna need a 2mm. So 2mm for the top. And again, it is these 2 screws right up here. Those are the 2 you want to remove. And one of the things that you can do is just grab onto the shock tower so that the chassis doesn't want to spin the opposite direction you're torquing, or the same direction that you're torquing, I should say. And it's just 2 screws here. We'll worry about the other 2 for the mount later. Now, one of the differences between the shock tower mount between the Slash is the body mount. The Slash does not have this center body mount, which isn't a big deal. All right, so you can use this one on the Slash, but you cannot use the Slash one on here because you have no point to secure this. You'd have to actually drill a little hole and drive a screw and have a bigger washer or something to hold the body down if you used a Slash mount. But other than that, you could interchange them if you wanted to. And the reason why is you can mount the slash body mounts right here. And if you've seen slash body mounts, they have multiple holes, so you can raise it or lower it. But that is it. So now this is free. Now you can just wiggle it out. There are in here, I will show you, there's two little triangles that kind of go up and lock in place. So the transmission actually keys on to the chassis. So see, it doesn't fall off or slide off. That's why you're going to have to move it and pull it out. So that's one of the reasons why sometimes people just remove all of this. And it's for that simplicity factor. The other thing too is, although you can wiggle it out, so you'd have to lift here. So you'd lift, create a gap, and then it would slide out. Or you can remove this rear bumper because these guys will actually hold it in. It depends on you. Since I'm showing you, I mean, generally I just pull it out and it works. But since I'm showing you, let's do it the easy way. The easy way is not necessarily the quickest way. Well, unless the quickest way is the easiest way for you. But I'm thinking of easy as the amount of force I have to apply on here. So I'm just going to remove this here. And once this bumper's off, actually if I just remove the screw, I can flip this over and it'll be fine. But again, it's this screw right here. It's a 2mm. Once you start wrenching on it more, you'll be familiar where everything keys in and how you can move parts, remove parts, you know, take short steps, shortcuts. But like I said, once you remove that screw, you can actually flip this over. So now it's like this. And then you can flip the other one. So now it's like that. So long story short, you just don't want it grabbing on because these are just two little channels, right? It's just a C channel, and that's it. Now you can lift a little and just pull out. And that's it. All right. So we have the rear here. One of the things you're going to notice is this piece of tape. Do not remove it unless you have to. But this is where it keys in. Right, so you have those little blocks, and that's what holds the transmission. That's why you have to lift. So you just have to either lift high back here and move it, or you kind of lift forward and move it. Either way, you're going to have to lift the transmission. Transmission, just lift up, pull out. And those go right in here. So those little blocks, right, this is the front part, those two little blocks go right in there, in those two cavities. So they're in those two little cavities, and just lift and pull out. And that is it. So now we've separated the main chassis from the rear end assembly. And you may have to do this for a variety of reasons. Maybe you broke your chassis. It happens once in a while. I don't think it's that common unless you're running some really crazy amount of power, but at that point you're probably not running the stock VXL system. You're running something else. And you may have to replace the chassis, or your chassis is just so worn because you've used it for so many years, or just so many packs have gone through it that you may have to replace it. So keep that in mind. The other reason too is once in a while as you're driving, see, the body doesn't really protect the wheels. The wheels are open wheels. So you may actually hit something right at the right angle. Sometimes it's right here in the arm. And if you're lucky, you will break the arm. If you're lucky. And I say that because it's easier to replace the arm. Just one arm. If you're not lucky, you will actually break the gearbox. So the case. And these will generally break right along here on that little edge, either side, depending on where you hit. And for that, you just have to take the entire thing apart, open this up, swap the gears out. Luckily, these aren't very expensive. I don't know, maybe $8 from Traxxas. I cannot remember. But that's one of the reasons why you may have to remove the entire thing. Right, so that being said, we will be taking off the shock mounts, arms, and turnbuckles in the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on the Bandit VXL Teardown. Thank you very much. You can like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment below. Thank you very much for watching.